Hey guys, so hopefully the lighting is a little better today. In the last video, we went over the kettlebell deadlift and the kettlebell swing. So today we're gonna add two new moves, the kettlebell clean and the one arm overhead press. And we're gonna combine the four moves to create a training program, okay? So let me just show you the two moves real quick so you know what I'm talking about. And remember, if you don't have a kettlebell, that's okay. Dumbbells work just fine. All right, so let me show you the clean first. This is the clean. And this is the one arm overhead press. All right, so you probably noticed the clean is very similar to the swing. A couple of key differences. One, obviously I was just using one arm instead of two to grab the bell. Now when we start practicing these, we're actually gonna start with two hands and then progress to one arm, okay? The second difference, which is really, really important, is the trajectory of the bell, okay? So with the swing, as you come up, we're gonna cast the bell out, versus the clean, as you come up, you're just gonna scoop the bell up and catch it in the rack position, okay? And we're gonna go over the rack position later as well. And from here, this is what's gonna set us up for the one arm press, and you can do other moves from this position as well, okay? So let's start by talking about the setup for the clean, which is actually pretty much identical to the swing, so it's gonna be more like a swing setup review, okay? So if you recall, we wanna be a few steps behind the bell. All right, that's gonna allow us to tilt the belt back. And like I said earlier, we're gonna start with two hands today. So what you're gonna do is get your setup, knees out, shoulders screwed, chest up. We're just gonna take one hand and cup it over the other. In terms of the grip, we're gonna turn the bell to neutral. So if I had it with one hand, my palm is facing the camera. All right, but now we're gonna grab it with two hands. Boom. All right, so let's just do a quick swing from here. A little review. So take a deep breath. So that was a swing, right? Only difference is I had a neutral grip. So now, like I said before, instead of casting the bell out, we're gonna scoop it up and catch it in the rack position. Okay, so watch me. Knees out, shoulders screwed, chest up, hand over the other, deep breath. So you can see the bell stays a lot closer to the body on the way up. You can think of there being a wall in front of you that you're trying not to hit with the bell, okay? Same thing on the way down. On the way down, in terms of unracking the bell, you can think about looking at your phone that's in your hand, all right? And as you do that, you let the bell just roll out of your hand, and we're gonna catch it again in that hike position, all right? So watch me. I'm gonna let the bell roll out my hand, hike it back, and catch it in front of me. All right, so let's just do that a couple more times to review the technique. Same setup as the swing, set neutral grip, palm on the other, chest up, deep breath, scoop it up, hike it back, catch it in front. And again, let it roll out, catch it in front. All right, so once you get comfortable doing that with two hands, you can get rid of the other and do that with one. All right, so let's just do a couple reps with one arm. All right, so that's the kettlebell clean. And again, that's gonna set us up for the one arm press. A couple of things you wanna look out for. One, we don't wanna pick up the weight with our arm. We don't wanna bicep curl it. So you have to generate the power from the hips, just like the swings. Boom, and that's what's gonna get the bell up. The arm is just there to guide it up and to catch it in that rack position. Second thing we should review is the actual rack position. A couple key pointers here that we should look out for. So let me just get it in the rack position again. All right. So a couple things here to look out for. One, we don't want the bell to pull our wrist back into extension, or what we call a gooseneck, this position. So we want the wrist to be straight. If anything, slightly curled in, you should have more tension on the inside of your inner arm, all right, or your inner forearm. Thing number two is keeping your elbow tight. So you'll notice there's no space here between my arm and my body. I can't get my hand here. All right, we don't want to have the space here because now I'm using my whole arm to carry this weight versus boom, it's on my body. Now I'm using more of my core muscles and the rest of my body to hold it up here, okay? So those are a couple key things you want to think of while you're in the rack position. You can always build specific strength for the rack position by performing carries, just walking around with the bell in the rack position, or doing marches, static marches, or marching around and working that shoulder stability along with the rest of your body, all right? So that's the kettlebell clean. One last thing about the clean. There's various ways to do the clean. So what we just did was a hike back or hike pass clean. We're using more of the swing mechanic versus what's called a dead clean. Sorry, it's like 95 degrees in here. All right. So a dead clean is where you are cleaning the bell off the ground next to your ankle, and you're using more of a triple extension movement, which is the extension of the hips, knees, and ankles, boom, to clean the bell. Okay, so that's used more for athletic training. There's more carryover to athletic performance when you train triple extension. We're just gonna stick to the hike pass today, but I'll make sure to go over the other variation in a future video. All right, so now that we know how to clean, let's move on to the one arm press, okay? So again, we're gonna use the clean to get set up for the press. Main things here to look out for, of course, we wanna start in the proper rack position. We don't wanna start out here, okay? And then the second thing you wanna look out for is as you press, we wanna make sure your arm finishes next to your ear versus in front. Obviously not too far back, but I don't really see that too often, so just be more careful about finishing too far forward, okay? The second thing, even though we're pressing with the arm, the third thing is, even though we're pressing with the arm, your whole body needs to be working. So what I'm doing here is I'm screwing my feet, my legs into the ground, okay? And what that does, it allows me to squeeze my quads, my glutes. My legs are super tense and driving my legs into the ground to create force, which is gonna travel through my core and into this arm to press that heavy weight overhead, okay? So make sure you're using the whole body. There's tension everywhere. I should not be able to knock you over while you're standing here. You should be nice and solid like a pillar, okay? So keeping that in mind, let's press the weight, all right? So first, we're gonna clean. We know how to do that now. Clean. Got it in the rack position, making sure the wrist is locked. Elbows glued to my rib cage. And now, I'm squeezing the crap out of this hand too. We want the whole body to be tense, all the muscles linked together. Feet screwed into the ground. Deep breath. Finish with the arm next to my ear. And now I'm going to control it down to rack position. And when you're done, we're going to hike it back like before and catch it in front of us, okay? So let's just do that a couple more times so you can watch the form again. You'll notice my whole body is tense. There's no leaks anywhere. There's no lax joints anywhere. Everything's working together to get that weight out overhead, okay? So a couple more reps, and then we'll finish up here. Cool, and you can of course do one clean and do multiple presses. That's totally fine. Now I'm just gonna give you one more option for that. Let's say the weight is a little too heavy to strict press from here. You can clean it into the rack position, but it's a little bit challenging to press it overhead. In that case, we can totally use our legs to help us out. So that's what we call a push press, where we do a mini squat and we use the legs to get the weight up. Okay, so let me show you that real quick. That's for anyone who they don't have light enough bells to do a strict press with, and they want to use their legs to help out with. All right, no problem. And that's going to be obviously a little bit more explosive because you are using that triple extension motion that I was talking about earlier. All right, so let me just show you that. All right, so it's a little too heavy for me to lift it up, so I'm gonna use my legs. I'm gonna dip down and push. You'll notice my heels will come off the ground to achieve that triple extension. Watch again. Boom. All right, so we just covered the clean and the overhead press with the option of the push press to combine, excuse me, with the deadlift and the swings. All right, so that gives us 4 to 5 exercises. In the next video, I'm going to show you how we can put those together to create a training program, but not just any training program where you're just working out for the sake of it. We want to be training with intent. Okay, so we'll be training with intent using these 4 to 5 exercises. Cool. Thanks for watching, guys. Holy shit, it's hot.